Was I gonna say? Yeah, so more black male authors, because maybe that taste of oppression makes them realize that women are humans. Hiya, and welcome back to another Reading Wednesday. It's your girl, Logan, also known as Sketchbooks and Bookbooks. And today, it's our first video of 2022, and I'm gonna do like a TBR, but also just like my reading goals for this year, because last year I didn't really have any reading goals other than to just read, just read the books. Read. And then I did that last video of like my statistics. Even though I had no plan and no thoughts going in, everything turned out pretty even, which still creeps me out. But anyway, this year, I hope I'm gonna branch out a little bit. We're just gonna dive right in, okay, with my reading goals, because I have some. Not many, but some, okay. So for one, I'd like to branch out of my comfort zone and read at least one book from a genre I typically dislike. Maybe even one book a month from a genre I dislike. But I think that's too much. Because I'm not, even that right now, I'm like, does that mean you'd be reading because I have 4 genres here that I'm I don't touch those really. Mystery, don't really care. I've never been the one who's like, oh, I gotta know what's going on. I gotta know how it ends. I really don't. I could put it down in the middle. I was not even I don't know if I've talked about this, but Knives Out, everyone loved Knives Out. I did not. I could have left in the middle of that thing, but it was because my baby Chris Evans was in it and I was trying to support him. That's why I stayed through that whole movie, but I was not intrigued at all. I'm I really don't care who did it. The person's dead, that won't matter. That won't change. So that's who I am as a person. Anyway, and then so mystery, maybe read one of those, maybe an Agatha Christie. She's a classic person, right? I don't know. I don't even know what good... what are good mysteries? I have no idea what for that category. I'll just keep my eye out, I guess. And then poetry, because I've always been the person, I just never liked poetry. I think I'm so anti-pretentious that it borderlines on just being pretentious. Just read the poems. Just read the poems. Just do it, okay? You're not special. No one's expecting you to you're not, but no, I think I dislike poetry because you have to read into it so much. And I'm just bored by that. Just tell me what you mean. Just tell me what you mean. But you have to say it in a pretty way or make an analogy or something. I don't know. I'm not one for poetry. Even though in English 3, American literature, we went through a whole poetry section and it was pretty much the black Harlem Renaissance, pretty much. And I was annotating the crap out of some Langston Hughes. It was a fun time, but at the same time, it was fun because I was you're just pulling crap from all of your extremities. Every body cavity you have is filled with crap, and you're just pulling from each of them. That is what it was to me. That's how I looked at it. Did I get an A? Yes. Did it for the grade? Yeah, just read more poetry. And I do have one in mind for that because I saw this book and it caught my eye a long time ago. Black Girl Call Home. Beautiful cover too. I was just the way that cover artist also did their job. Because the way that just unlocks so many memories, seeing those plastic barrettes all in her hair. It's yes, that was me. I was that was me. I am the black girl. Okay, I was yeah, it was wonderful. So I'll probably read that one and hopefully I'll enjoy it. And I have others too that I could possibly Punching the Air. And then I guess Clap When We Land by Elizabeth Alvarado, or that's from just straight off my dome. Because I've never read a book by her, but she has several that I'm just because I don't like poetry, I was super disappointed when I didn't know Clap When You Land was told in verse. And if it's told in verse, I count it as poetry, okay? So yeah. And then Poet X, she also has that one. So I have a lot I could read if I do end up liking poetry and just the anti-pretentious in me just kept me from enjoying it this whole time. I'll definitely read her if that's the case. But then fantasy, also want to read maybe one of those. But here's the thing with that fantasy, it's I'm already kind of giving myself a pass because it seems magic is a prerequisite for fantasy, and that's why I don't read it. I don't like magic, and I honestly think it's kind of lazy and stupid. But yeah, so I feel every fantasy novel has magic in it some way, somehow. And I don't like that. So if I could find a fantasy novel that didn't have any magic in it that I could read about, that'd be great. Just give me some like good old dragons. And they don't have to be magical dragons. They can just be dragons that are there. Like dinosaurs were here. I don't even think it's hard. It's just, I don't know, people who like fantasy just like magic too. And I'm just like, nah, can I separate that? Separate it. I don't want that. I don't want that mixed in like that. Okay, so anyway, in fantasy, I don't even know what I would read. I know what I would like to read, but like I said, all of those things have magic in them. I saw that there's black girls in fantasy now. That's great. Still a bunch of magic, so I can't even enjoy it for me personally. It kind of sucks, but anyway. Then I could read some classics because I'm not really a big like classics person, okay? Like I like them. I do think I like the way they sound sometimes. Like it's like this, you'd read this for a class. This is very literature-esque, This is some real, I don't know, like Toni Morrison kind of writes like that. I could never write like that. I could, but I just don't want to, so it wouldn't be good, But yeah, I hate Charles Dickinson, but anything other than him, I'd probably be great. I don't even know, but did I say John Steinbeck too? Because those old white dudes were boring. They were so boring. I don't know. Groups of Wrath is so long. Anyway, yeah, that's another day. But the classics I have my eye on. I'm going to the girls, okay? Jane Eyre. I've always kind of like wanted to read that, and then I could watch the movie with Mia Wasikowska. I don't know how to say her name. It always was so daunting to me. Mia Wasikowska. I really don't know. But you know who I'm talking about. She was the gritty Alice in Wonderland girl. That was her. Anyway, Jane Eyre, and then maybe Pride and Prejudice. Because I've never read Pride and Prejudice, believe it or not. And then I remember my class watched the movie, with Keira Knightley and all that. I was so bored. out of my mind. I legit couldn't tell you a single thing that happened. I know that, that scene where they're like, the hands touch, and then he's like flexing his hand. I can't recreate it, but it's like this. That's how the camera angle kind of was, because it's like, yeah, but he's flexing his hand because, he touched her and stuff. And I'm just not a slow burn girl. I'm not a slow burn girl. I'm not at all. I'm really not. I like relationship part. That's the interesting part to me, is when they're together and then the world is against them. That's how I kind of like it. I like it when they're together, and then I just like to see how they handle stressful situations together. That's the most interesting part to me, is the teamwork aspect. But for some reason, I can never get that. I hardly ever get it. And I hate romances where it's like they get together and they do the devil's tango or whatever, the sideways Humpty Hump, and then I was supposed to be satisfied by that? No, go on a date. Dude, I don't care about that. Cuddle or something. That's not getting me what I really want. That's not a relationship to me. Okay? You could have done that from the get-go, actually. I'm just like, whatever. That's a different video that I will make in the future regarding a certain book and its formulaic ways that I dislike. I want to get my relationship fluffing first, okay? I want the fluff. And then you can break everything down. Because that's how romance has to be, where we root for these people to be together, and we know they're going to be together, but then something bad happens and they break up, and then we have to root for them again somehow. That's how the story beats of romance are, for whatever reason. But yeah, so Jane Eyre, Pride and Prejudice, I might try to read those. I'm leaning more towards Jane Eyre, as I said, though, because I'm just not. I've never read a Jane Austen book, though, and that does feel kind of shameful. It does feel kind of shameful. I feel a little shame. So, yeah. I mean, shoot. I had a chance to read Pride and Prejudice in school, like I said, with the whole movie thing. But I think they offered, for summer reading, they also offered A Clockwork Orange. And I was like, I'm going to choose A Clockwork Orange over Pride and Prejudice. What? This is cool. Of course I'm going to read that. Stanley Kubrick. I'm going to read that. I want to know what happened. I'm like, shoot. I was like, I was not even hesitating. That wasn't the choice I needed to make. Now, I'm not sure if I'm remembering that incorrectly, but it's high school, so who cares? Yeah, moving on. So those are like the 4 genres that I would try to branch out and read some more. Mystery, poetry, fantasy, classics. And I'm not going to really think about memoirs and biographies because I kind of feel like that falls into nonfiction and I've already read that, you know? Like that's not a genre I don't read. There's just not, I'm like, who do I care about enough to read like a biography about? I've read a biography of Zora Neale Hurston. That was pretty good. I really enjoyed that actually. Anyway, but yeah, so those, branch out and read a book in those genres that I typically stray from. And then I would also like to read more black male authors, not just black authors because I'd be doing that on the daily, but black male authors because last year I was like, I liked Tochi Onyebuchi and maybe. I also read another book called Open Water by Caleb. His last name started with an A, I don't know. I'm not sure. I feel like I would mispronounce it and I don't want to do that. But yeah, and that book it would have been great had it not been written in second person. I hate second person. It bothers me. That book is so small, it's less than 300 pages, and it took me like a month to read it because I hated second person. I do. I hate it so much. So if that wasn't in second person, I probably would have loved that book. I would have loved it. But yeah. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so more black male authors because maybe that taste of oppression makes them realize that women are humans. And I'm willing to take that bet. I'm willing to take the bet on the oppressed oppressor. I'm willing to take it. I'm like, maybe they know. Maybe they can give me what I want. But I also don't know many black male authors to begin with. So, research must be done. But yeah, I want to read more of them. And then I also want to read more comics because after that last video where I was like, do comics count? They definitely do. They definitely do. And I want to read more of them actually. I want to read I'm really not sure. Paper Girls. I've heard of Paper Girls because it's the same author who wrote Saga. But then I'm like, what if he does some weird things because they're children? I thought they were children. And Saga is not that safe for work anyway. So I'm just like, what if he does some weird Stephen King stuff with children? And now I'm scared because you can't. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. But that's one of the ones on my radar that I know about. And then I also kind of wanted to look at Why the Last Man because it's now like an FX series, but I've seen it as a comic too. So I want to check that out. I might not. What other comic would I want? I don't want to get into the superhero thing. I don't care about that. I don't. But I would like maybe to read more graphic novels and stuff because I do tend to like enjoy them. Maybe get into manga too, but like, yeah, I don't know about that. It wouldn't be hard. I'm like, the reason I make that face is because the manga my library has is kind of dated, and I don't really like 80s era or like older manga styles. 80s era anime is okay to me. I could watch that. Like one of my favorite animes actually was School Rumble. I love them. I love that anime. No one ever talks about it, but I love it. It was so fun. I was really dying laughing. I don't know if I could watch it again now and still be laughing at it. I feel like I tried and it was so disappointed when I couldn't laugh anymore. Anyway, but yeah, so like 80s era anime, I can take it. But old style, like the actual manga, sometimes eyes will bleed. Eyes are bleeding currently. I don't know. Like I like Kiriko's basketball, and then I've seen like the manga covers, and Kiriko's is hideous to me. And also, it's hard to read something, I feel, in manga form when you've already watched the anime, and they did it pretty well. They did it justice. Like I watched Toradora, that anime, and then I tried to read the manga, and I was like, well, I already know everything that happens, and this style is pretty much the same as the anime. So really, what did I miss out on? Nothing, it seems, so I put it back. I could not do it. But anyway, I want to read more comics or manga or graphic novels, whatever. So those are my reading goals for 2022, okay? Nothing numerical, all just in the content, all in the quality, not in the quantity, but the quality of what I read, And I will continue to probably pick up books that just look pretty. I'm not going to stop that. Until something really bad happens and I'm scarred for life, I'm not going to stop that. Anyway, And now we're just gonna do my TBR 2022. Some of these books I already have, but I legit have like not really started. So of course I have like Please Don't Sit on My Bed in Your Outside Clothes by Phoebe Robinson. I mean, I have it and I've read the introduction, but I haven't started the actual essay yet. So yeah. And then I have, of course, Bluebird by Attica Locke. Yeah, this was recommended to me by one of my subscribers or someone who watches me, and I was surprised that my library actually had it because I'm a small town girl, but they had it, okay? And it does seem pretty interesting. I am pretty interested in it. I don't know why I stopped. I'm in the middle of a chapter too, but we will read this, right? And what else do we have? Oh my gosh. I have We Are Not Like Them by Christine Pride and Joe Piazza. So I haven't actually started this one at all. It's a 14-day one because it's new. And so is like Please Don't Sit on My Bed in Your Outside Clothes. I hope no other people at my library care about these books. I hope they don't even know they exist, because otherwise if they put a hold on it, then I have to return it. I don't want to do that, okay? So anyway, and then I also have another book that I'm going to read called White Feminism by Zoe Beck. I'm not sure if that's her name at all. Let me look that up real quick. It's by Koa Beck. White Feminism by Koa Beck. And that's for a story I'm writing. Satirical, and if you're like, and that's white feminism is something I'm making fun of. But I watched like a short little video she did on white feminism and the suffragettes and all that, and learned more than I ever had, and like it was less than 5 minutes. So I hope that book is really good. I feel like she knows what she's talking about, and she seems passionate about it, so I'm thinking it's gonna be really great. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. My reading goals for 2022 and my little TBR for 2022. Actually, I missed out a book actually. Shoot, okay, give me a second. After it was super early. Okay, so I also have a comic I'm gonna read called Eat and Love Yourself, which seems really cool. And it's also by an artist that I'm very inspired by. I love her art style. And then I also kind of have a goal of reading all the books that were super hyped up 2021, but I never got around to. Like Such a Fun Age, and then Leave the World Behind, even though I didn't feel like that one wasn't super hyped. But yeah, I might try to read The Midnight Library, but at the same time, I was never intrigued by that premise. As someone with depression, I was like, I don't care. Okay, so yeah, I don't know about that one, but yeah, that's all I have for you today. Those are my reading goals for 2022 and my little TBR for 2022. Tell me your reading goals. How long is your TBR? You know, if you have one. I don't really do one really typically, but yeah. And I'm glad you made it to the new year, my guy, and you're gonna make it through. I know you will. We both will. We have to. It's not an option anymore. We will make it through. So anyway, go read a book, have some dotsy-watsies, and I will see you next time.